Hello, everyone. How are we? I am so excited to be here again, and I have a special guest that will be hopping on in 2 seconds. So I'm just really excited. This is a new series that I'm doing. I will come live once or twice a week, go over topics. Anything you guys want to talk about, let me know. Drop below or message me, and I would love to hear whatever you'd like to hear about.
Yeah, here we go.
Yay! I love it when it works. Okay.
There.
So welcome, Miss Christina. My friends, you have such a blessing to have this person here on this live with us. This woman has been in this industry a very long time. She's got an amazing background. I will let her fill you in on all that, but her heart is as big as her body, and she's this big, but she's a mom. She just had a baby. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been a year already. She started with us, what, 2 weeks before you were due?
Mhm.
It was crazy. So, yeah. So, Miss Christina, thank you so much. Please let my audience know, your audience know, what your background is. I will not do you, a service if I just kind of read off what you are, but please introduce yourself, let everybody know where you are, how you ended up there, because that's a story all by itself, and a little bit about your background, please.
Sure. So I hope you can't hear the beeping and stuff in the background because we just moved into a no home that is in a development. My name is Christina Whiteley. I am a 41-year-old mom of two that just decided to do life differently. I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but I knew with the way of the world and the economy and how I actually wanted to live, being able to travel, being able to take time off, being able to have these experiences with my family, that I was gonna have to work. There was no just one income household here. Like, if we wanted to have more, we had to be willing to do more. Now, I went to school went to university for music, did that for 5 years, dropped out 2 classes short of a degree because I realized I didn't want to be a starving artist. And then I went to hair school because I was like, if I'm a hairstylist, I'll be able to make money and decide my own schedule, maybe even work from home when I have kids, which I ended up doing. But I also had this strong desire to help people. And I think that that's why I really loved the hair world, is because you got to make people feel great about themselves. You got to build their confidence. You got to know them. You become their psychologist. It's just part of the deal, right? And then I'd been doing hair for 11 years, and I was 7 months into my pregnancy with my daughter, who is now almost 9, where I had a really bad shoulder injury and I couldn't continue working. And the statistics are that 1 in 3 people will end up on disability for up to 2 years in their working life, right? So whether it's you or your partner or somebody that those are the odds. And I was at this point where I didn't know what I was going to do next. And I saw this girl that I'd known for years and years and years, who was a house cleaner. I saw her show up on social media. She posted a picture of her and her kids at the beach, and she talked about making $20,000 a month from her phone. And I was like, pardon me? I got up at 5 a.m. this morning. I'm pregnant. I'm puking everywhere. I had to go do one wedding after the other wedding, throwing up between bridesmaids, and you're sitting at the beach making $20,000 a month from your phone? Are you kidding me? Right? This girl literally scrubbed toilets. And I was like, man, I want that life. Why can't I have that life, right? So, I mulled it over for a couple of weeks, and I called her when my baby was 3 weeks old, when Isabella was 3 weeks old, and I said, you got to come over and tell me what you're doing. I don't understand what you do, but you got to tell me what you're doing. And she came over and she's like, hey, so I started selling these products online. I love them, and I share them with people, and they buy, and there are other consultants that do the same thing. And she's like, you would be great at this. So many people, and people trust you and they like you, and you'd be awesome at this. Why don't you give it a go? And so I looked at my husband and I said, I'm going to give it a go for a year. Maybe I won't have to go back to work being a hairstylist. Because what I didn't really realize is, when I went into that career, that I would be working every single weekend doing weddings. And I booked that a year out. There was no sporadic,
Right.
long weekend getaway or road trip or
Right.
let's go to the beach today. There was none of that.
Right.
And I was willing to sacrifice that when I was single or with my husband, but I wasn't willing to sacrifice that when I had kids. So things changed a little bit, and I said, I'll try anything. I'll go all in. I'll learn it. I had no business being online, by the way. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to communicate with people online, even though I was really personable in my job. I didn't know how to post or market on social media. It was an absolute disaster. My mom was the only one that liked my post for a year, right? I turned off way more people than I turned on to what I was doing. But I was willing to try something different because I wanted something different. And like, how many people are out there dreaming of a different life and just say, oh, I wish that could never be me. And I hope that by the end of this conversation between Jerry-Ann and I, that you realize that it absolutely could be you. It could be you in a year or 2 years if you started making decisions today to live that life. And so it's been kind of crazy. Over the last 9 years, I've been in this online space. I never thought I'd be the person doing live videos on social media or talking to people. Like, I never dreamed that this would be my career, right? It was not something I grew up and wanted to be. I wanted to grow up and be a mom. That's what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And the things that have happened in the last 9 years, because really it's about personal development and growth and who you become in the process. So any of you guys out there that are seeking to become a better version of yourself, this is like the fastest way forward, where you get to learn those skills in real time and get paid for them.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, what's unfolded is I've had opportunities to be an author and written best-selling books with collaborations. I started my own podcast because I love talking to people and hearing their success stories and hearing like their rags to riches. And I think that that's so important, because you count yourself out until you can see yourself doing something similar to somebody else, right? Like, a lot of people, Jerry-Ann, will look at you and be like, wow, look at her. She's so beautiful. She has everything going for her. She has this amazing online business. I could never do that, right? And they'll count themselves out before they even inquire or understand what it takes. And man, I would way rather sit here. And yes, we moved from Canada to Mexico in the middle of COVID because we had the freedom to do so because we worked online. But I never thought that, like, sitting here and being able to connect with people on social media and sell, because 83% of people are looking to social media for recommendations. Right. I never thought that this is how it would end up. But there were signs along the way, and I think most people ignore those signs. Mm-hmm. Right? They ignore the offer. They ignore the opportunity. They ignore the invite to learn more about something. And I actually just did a live video on this today, 12 years ago, that my husband and I had taken 8 weeks off work. We'd driven from Canada to Mexico. We were sitting on the beach, and this young couple rocked up on the beach, and they were coming to Cabo, oddly enough. And I said, how long are you going for? I thought we had, as a stylist, I was working in my salon. I could take whatever time off I wanted. My husband was managing a pub at the time. He could take the 8 weeks off too. Like, that's not very common to be able to do that. So I thought I had it made. Right. And then the couple goes, well, we're going to Cabo. We're going to see if we like it. We might just stay. And I'm like, what? You don't have like an office to go back to, a schedule, a job? Like, I don't what? Like, how do you make money? And she goes, we make money online. And it was literally that day 12 years ago, before any of this was possible, that there was a seed planted. She runs back to her van, comes back out with a skincare sample. I didn't even know what network marketing was, but this chick is selling skincare online and is living in a Sprinter van down by the river in Mexico. And I was like, this seems pretty cool. Like, I want that too, right? But it was like all of these seeds that were planted along the way that really you just have the courage. You have to have the courage to go after and say, why not me? Right. Why can't I do that too, right? We never thought we'd be living down here. You know, we just moved into this house after 2.5 years of building, and we look at our view and both of us are like, wow, how do we end up here? And it was literally brick by brick. Mm-hmm. One decision after the next decision after the next decision that got us here. We never knew it would. We had dreams of it, but we decided that we were going to take the risks to get there. And that's really where most people fall off. It's like, oh, it's too risky, but they don't realize, what are you risking if you don't live this way? What are you risking if you don't go after your dreams? Are you just going to die with that dream in your heart?
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's crazy because people they say no to what they're afraid they have to do, but they don't stop long enough to even figure out or find out what really it's all about. And I've been in other network marketing companies previously. And when this was brought to me, I was like, oh, I don't want to go do one of those again. I don't, oh. And I mean, I had that knife in my gut, but it's because of the experience I had in those other companies. And so when I was introduced to this company, this team, the systems that we have in place, the plug and play, watching people be successful every single day and working it in the cracks of their schedule. Not everybody goes full time. I mean, there's a little handful of us that have. And it's like if they would just stop and really listen inside, what do I want? What do I want my future to look like? And how am I going to get there? If I
Yeah,
continue to do the same thing I'm doing right now for another 5 years, where are you going to be? And that's where you have to decide, if I want to have something different, I have to do something different to get there, you know, and,
absolutely.
and that's the hard part for a lot of people. So, you know, I consider myself extremely blessed that I have found this company, this team, this system, because it's changed my world. Who I would have never thought I would be back here. But it's the best decision I've ever made. And who knows, it took me 65 years to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up.
But doesn't it make all the difference though, Jerrianne, when you have a support team around you? Like nobody can build something of significance alone. That's the truth. You can't do it alone. But when you have the right people, the right culture, the right community, the right systems, and the right support, right, you can learn anything. Everyone that is watching this video is capable of learning a skill. They're capable of learning a business. If you can go to school and take a course, if you can go to school and get a degree, you can absolutely learn how to do business. And what's really interesting, and I'm glad that you brought this up because you've tried other companies before. I've been in two other companies before I came here, hit six figures within my first 8 months of those two companies and this company. And what I want to say is it's not necessarily about the product. It's not necessarily about the compensation plan. It's about the mission behind what we do, because too many people are just out there chasing the dollar, right? Like shiny object syndrome of like, what's the newest, latest, greatest, instead of thinking, what's long-term sustainable? Most
Absolutely.
people are making decisions, panic decisions based on emotion of where they are right now. I need money, I need to pay my bills. What happened in the past? That never worked for me in the past. It can't work for me in the future. Instead of making fact-driven decisions based on where they're going in the future and then committing to becoming the person required to get the result that they want,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
It's not right, because I've talked to people every day that like, I suck at sales. I'm like, how long are you going to suck at sales for? And they're like, what do you mean? Like, how long are you choosing to suck at sales for? It's one of the easiest way to build wealth, one of the highest paying professions, communication and sales. If you can learn those skills in a year, in 5 years, you will never be without work. You'll never have to worry again. So are you just going to sit there and, give me this lame excuse that you suck at sales? Okay, keep sucking, but there's going to be somebody else that comes along behind you. And by the way, this is like fixed versus growth mindset. And as a kid, I grew up with a fixed mindset. I sucked at basketball. I was not that great at sports, right? I was academic, and so I was typecast. So I would stay up and study because I was smart, but not really. I just learned how to memorize stuff. And when you realize that we were taught this weird way of living a life where really all we do is work to pay our bills, we work to be part of a tax system. We're not taught how to create wealth, how to create time freedom, how to create the joy that we are capable of creating. But instead, we're sitting there looking left and looking right and comparing ourselves in a puddle of mud, instead of going out there and doing what we need to create the life that we truly want. And that, I think, is the biggest tragedy of it all. I see people quit far too soon because they give up on their dream and they give up on themselves, and they don't realize this is a skill set. Like you would study in university to become a doctor, or you go to carpentry school to become a contractor. This is the same thing, except you get paid as you learn instead of having to pay to learn, right?
Right. That's absolutely right. Yeah. And that's one thing that I've noticed in the last couple of years. The skill set is improving. Even though I've been doing this for 4.5 years, the more I do it, the better I get. And for those people that are out there thinking that I'm up on this little pedestal, oh, you look great and you're doing this and you're doing all the things, and I don't think I can do all the things. And it's like, I'm just me. I am not up on a pedestal. I put my pants on just like you do. I screw up just like you do, and it's just putting the time in because you've got that value. You see the future, you can see the vision, and I'm willing to do what I have to do to get there, and that's what other people have to decide. Where do you want to be? Do you want to stay stuck where you are, or do you want to jump and go with the flow and figure it out as we go along? We're so taught, Miss Mandy says it all the time, play in the mess. And I'm like, I am the queen of the mess. So
Well, I think everybody is, right? Because to do something different can be uncomfortable, right? But like the next level of your life is on the thing that you're not doing. And like, let's talk a little bit about, why we're here, because I've had conversations with multiple people that have been in multiple different companies. I've been in multiple different companies. When I started with Amari, I actually didn't think that I would do this industry anymore. I thought I was done. Why? Because when you work with people, you have all different situations, all different opportunities for growth, all different challenges, all different heartbreaks, all of these things. But that is life. So now I've learned to embrace those things, embrace the relationships, embrace the screw ups and the lessons, and learn from them and become better because of them.
Right.
And life has changed in a different direction. And the other thing is, look, it's not enough to find something just to make money to pay your bills. It's not enough to do that. And it constantly, oh, this will make me, money quickly. This will make me money quickly. We see these things come in and out online. They are hyped up for a couple of months and then they're gone. I'll give you an example. The MRR stuff came around, right? The master rewrites came in, it came out, and then it was gone. Because it's still sales, by the way. It's still sales. There's just no residual income. And people are like, affiliate marketing. I'm like, yeah, but affiliate marketing, you only get paid on the first sale. You don't get lifetime sales. You don't create residual income. So are you going to try and choose easy because you're scared to go all in on something or not? And this was a conversation I actually had a heart-to-heart with a friend of mine who recently joined us here because, look, I was so sick and tired of selling supplements and weight loss to people who didn't care about their health. Like, I'm not going to convince you that you need to spend the money on quality foods or supplements. Like, I cannot do it. I've gone through my own health issues. I have my own journey and my own reasons, and that's why I will always prioritize high quality food, hormone-free, pesticide-free, all of those things, organic food and supplements, because I understand what it's like to be sick, and I don't want to be sick anymore. And usually people don't put their health first until they're sick. There's also a lot of people out there that want to try everything and just say nothing works because they don't want to commit to living a healthy lifestyle. But when this mental wellness came down the line to me, a friend brought it to me because she knew that I had 2 miscarriages in 2021, that I had postpartum depression on top of postpartum depression, on top of COVID, lockdowns, division, all the BS that was going on. It was too much for my heart to bear. And I hit rock bottom after 20 years of personal development. I could not think my way out of it. And I have a really great counselor, and she's like, you cannot think your way out of these things, okay? I was constantly trying to think my way out and reason. She's like, you can't. So I had to come to terms with the fact that I was living with PTSD. I had depression. I had to do something different. My husband said, why don't we go to Mexico for 3 to 6 months? That'll cure you, which it did. And it made us want to live here, right? Like it's fantastic. However, I was pregnant again, and I was very much worried about postpartum depression because it is very heavy and there's nothing that you can do about it. And I didn't want to take medication. He also had said just the week prior, like, it's funny, again, these seeds that are dropped, these ideas that are dropped the week prior to my friend reaching out to me, he had said, Christina, you're uncharacteristically negative right now. And I was like, no shit, I'm uncomfortable. I'm not sleeping. I'm stressed because honestly, I'm like 8 months pregnant. I'm like, we're building a house in Mexico that isn't moving forward. It's such a blessing to be here now a year later, but I was so stressed, right? And he's like, you're not yourself. And I was like, I know, right? But how many women pregnant, by the way, whether it's that time of month or hormonal or whatever, we're like, I know I'm in a bad mood. I know I'm anxious. I know that I sound like this, but I don't know how to fix it. Right? Right? And so what do? Grab a bottle of wine. For me, it was cannabis, okay? And that's what I would go to because I had to take the edge off so I didn't sound like a maniac. And I knew it, but I just couldn't fix it. And so anyways, my friend brings me this happy juice. And I'm like, really? Happy juice? You think this is going to solve all my problems? All right. She's like, well, it's worth a shot. And I was like, yeah, I guess. And she talks about being anxiety-free for 15 weeks. And I was like, well, if it worked for you, like, I guess I'll try it, right? Because I also know on the other side of postpartum depression what this is going to be like. So I started drinking it, and 5 days in, I felt like this weight had been lifted from my chest, like the weight of the world that I was carrying. How many of us have like felt that weight, that heaviness, that anxiety? I don't want to get out of bed. It's too much, right? All of that dissipated. I started having way more patience with my daughter, with my husband. Nothing really seemed to bother me anymore. And I felt great. I felt motivated. I felt energized. My mood turned around. My husband goes, I haven't seen you this happy in a couple of years. Like, I haven't seen you like this. Because moving countries, especially during COVID with everything that was going on, our values, it was really stressful. People are like, oh, you live the dream in Mexico. Yeah, sure. Yes, we do. But we also took a lot of risk and had to go through a lot to do that.
Oh, yes, you did.
So there was all of these things that were going on in the process, right? And when I realized that this was a holistic solution for not only adults, but for kids, because my daughter had big emotions that she didn't know how to adapt to or communicate through, right? I'm like, man, we all need this, like all of us. And this is whenever I was in conversations with friends or business partners or whatever, you know what the conversation was? Mental health. Oh my God, I'm so stressed. I'm so anxious. I don't feel good. I'm not motivated. I just feel like blah. This heavy rain cloud is following me around, right? Whether you are dealing with it right now or you deal with it because you come up against a challenge or there's a death in the family, God forbid, something stressful happens. We all have gone through this as a human experience. And now you have a way, right? Now you have a way that you can holistically do something about it, and it tastes great. Right. It's great. And why not bring families together over this instead of like sitting in a household where everyone's yelling at each other? Why don't we all be happy instead?
Absolutely. That is 1,000%. I mean, that, and when you talk about that, the weight of the world lifting, I have said for years, I'm like, I've got this elephant sitting on my chest. And when I was having severe IBS issues and stuff, my entire adult life, who knew that it all starts in the gut? I'm thinking I'm losing my mind up here, and my gut is in knots, and I can't function. And come to find out, everything about Happy Juice helped my gut. And now I'm like, that elephant is off of my chest. And just like you, I think I was day 3 or 4 sitting at my desk, and I swear to God, it was like an out of body experience. I felt that melt away, and I'm like, wow, this stuff is good.
Yeah, I've been in this industry for 9 years now, and my husband has not joined me in anything. And he started drinking the Happy Juice, and he's like, Christina, this shit actually works. And I'm like, I know it does. And it has, like in that heavy state, he'll go have a Happy Juice, an hour later, he's like, I feel great. I'm like, fantastic. Awesome. And when you can give that gift to the people around you, not only that, but be able to share it with the world, man, like there's a bigger mission here. And I think that's really what I wanted to come back to, is that so many people are in panic mode, and they are, instead of abundant, they're in this fear-based mode, and they don't realize that a sense of purpose and doing something that is for the greater good, having, a reason to get up in the morning and help other people, that is going to be the thing that carries you through, not the money. The money is great and it solves problems, but it's not going to be the thing that allows you the discipline to continue working through challenges. And so when I talked to a friend of mine who recently joined me here, he was making $50,000 or $60,000 in another company back in the day, and he's hopped around to other companies, and he just hasn't found it. He's like, Christina, I just haven't been able to get the traction. I'm like, yeah, because you're doing it for the money and for the opportunity, right? You're going to every startup to try and be the next great thing to get back to where you were. But tell me what that was like when you first started. You believed in the product. You had an incredible testimony. You were excited to help other people with that. And you've probably been hesitant in your conversations because you've just been trying to make money, as opposed to hey, there's actually a reason that I'm here. I'm here because I want to help other postpartum moms. I also am a business coach and know that if people are stressed, anxious, or depressed, they will not, even if they have a master plan on building business, they will not build a business because they'll sit in their shit for too long instead of going out and doing something. So we have to look at business holistically, like enough sleep, 8 hours of sleep, healthy eating, healthy supplementation, getting your mindset right. All of these things for high performers is really important. And it also increases your quality of life. So
Right?
like, why wouldn't you want to live happy? Like, is it really fun to just live mundane, mediocre, average, like day in, day out, day in, day out? No, it's not. It's not why we're here. We're here to make a difference. We're here to serve people. We're here to help people. And so when you have that mission in your heart, and you know, he confided in me that he had been diagnosed with early onset dementia, and he was really, really worried. And he said, you know, I started looking into this, and the doctors gave me like a pretty grim diagnosis, saying if I didn't do anything to treat this, I would be in a facility within 2 years. He's like, I'm not 65 yet. Like, are you kidding me? He's like, what about my wife? And so he's like, you know, I'm going to start, I'm looking into it. I'm eating differently. I'm looking at my gut health. I'm looking at how that affects my brain and all these things. I'm going to hit it head on holistically and see what happens. And he started feeling better. He's had more focus, more energy, more clarity, all of those things. And so when you start doing the things that actually mean something to you, like he's got such a deep why to take care of his wife that he's going to continue doing that job, and knowing that we've now named diabetes and we've now named dementia and Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes because it's so prevalent. Yes. Well, it's because of our food. It's because we are eating crappy food, processed food, and our gut's a mess, and our bodies are not functioning correctly, and it's affecting your brain. Yep. So as we all are waking up to this, I know you did a beautiful presentation with Ms. Mandy Escalin about being healthy, right? It's not just about our healthy body. The food that we eat, the supplements that we take, they affect our brain. And so what's the biggest thing people are scared about? Losing their minds. Start eating to save it. Yeah. Instead of just ignoring the problem or just saying, you know, at some point I'm going to get it because all my family members did. Well, what crap were your family members eating? Why can't you be proactive and do something now so that you don't have to live like that?
It's called breaking the cycle. Do you know how many cycles are out there that need to get broken? Hello. It's like, come on. Yeah.
100%. 100%. So it's just a different way of doing business. And you know, what I'm really excited about right now is that we have a new collaboration. We have a new collaboration.
Exciting.
And as a hairstylist, I'm very excited. I'm actually going to get my products. I'm in Mexico right now, so I couldn't get them. I'm going to get my products in New Jersey. Our friend Erica ordered them, and she's going to bring them to me. But I'm watching all you guys. I know that this is a multi-million-dollar best-selling, award-winning hair care company. For somebody that worked in the industry for 11 years, that had issues hormonally because of the chemical exposure, that had, you know, weight issues, that had skin issues, that had hormonal and mood issues, let's put it that way. I'm so grateful that this company understands how important non-toxic products are, because everything that goes on your skin, everything that goes in your hair, right? Our skin is our biggest organ. We don't think of it that way, right? But we absorb everything that goes onto our skin, and it does impact us, right? A lot of us have heavy metal buildups, or we have plastic buildups in our body, and we're not detoxifying correctly, so it comes out as chronic illness or fatigue or pain or joint pain or arthritis, all of this inflammation. And it's like, if we just start paying attention to what we're putting in our bodies and detox correctly and give ourselves the right things to do that, then guess what? All of a sudden those things disappear. And so why are we sitting here accepting purgatory, which is not that good, but not that bad, right? Why are we sitting here accepting that when we could live optimally and have a higher quality of life longer?
Right. I talked to somebody yesterday, and she's like, I don't need to get older. I don't want to get older. I'm, you know, I've lived my life, and I'm like, excuse me? No, take care of you now so you can be your best self for as long as you're here. Why not be the best you can be right now? And then the longer it goes, the better you get. It's not like this life sentence because we're getting older. I don't know about you guys, but I'm aging backwards. So
Well, yeah. And I also think that how you take care of yourself is a direct reflection of how much you love yourself,
yes,
right? Right. And same with the relationships you have and the friendships that you have is a direct reflection of how much you love yourself and how much you honor your kids. We all say we'll do anything for our kids. Well, will you get healthy for them? Will you be an example for them? Will you show them how to create their own happiness? Or are you going to, stay in a job that you hate for years and years just to pay the bills? Because they're not listening to everything that you say, but they're damn well watching everything that you do.
absolutely.
So we've got to wake up and help them create healthy habits. One of the hardest things for us here in Mexico is the candy culture, piñatas and birthdays and candy everywhere. And so we have to educate Isabella that okay, that candy's great. It's also addictive. It also has all of these negative side effects, right? And so we have to educate her and say, we're not going to say no to you, but to counteract that, then you have to eat healthy over here. You have to have your proteins and your vegetables and your healthy carbs. And this is how you can, we can't be perfect on it all, right? I still love a good glass of wine.